Welcome back, everybody, to the official final episode of the Arlington Angle. I'm here with the esteemed Scott Parson, Mr. Parson. Probably didn't prefer that, but it happens. Owen Meehan and Jack Carden. It's end of the year, fellas. We're there.
We are last day.
Finally.
I know. It's been long. I guess, not really, though. It feels long, like looking back, thinking about it, but it didn't really go by that slow. I feel like it went by fast.
It always does.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get the fall season where things get really, really busy, and you're still kind of getting the feelers out.
Yeah.
For all the classes, maybe new classes, new teachers you never had before, and you're going, what can I get away with? No, what do I need to do to be successful in this classroom? Those type of things.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, those type of things. And then it's kind of the humdrum of winter. And if you're involved in sports, it goes the winter sports. It feels like that.
Winter sports definitely can drag on a bit.
It feels like forever in winter sports because you're just inside the whole time.
And I always say that as soon as we get into spring sports, basically,
it's over.
It's keep things moving. Keep things moving.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're not done yet. We still have in this class.
We got to finish.
For
this
those
podcast.
of you that are exempting, you got a half hour left for this class. If you're not exempting, we'll have a joyous time on Friday. Right, start of the day.
Yep.
You want me to bring donuts?
If you want to, yeah.
I can bring some
I'll
donuts.
pull up some donuts.
Well, we'll talk.
Oh, okay.
But thinking about this year, and I brought this up to Luke, and those of you that are watching, we thank you for watching. But this is like episode. Are we on 12 or 13?
13, I think.
Episode 13 now, and it's been a good time for this class to create the Arlington Angle, and really be able to share some of their thoughts and opinions. We decided to go a little more roundtable, looking at each other, talking to each other, rather than the wide shot today, just simply because this is a little more of a recap, a reflection on, maybe we'll start off with reflection on this class. Maybe you took Broadcasting 1
last year,
not
so
this. So
it would have been like
your sophomore year?
Yeah, sophomore first semester.
Okay. And Broadcasting 1 was?
Last semester.
Yeah.
You guys both took it just last semester. See how that's where I get all those things kind of mumbled together. And so sometimes you pick up things in broadcasting in this class that you're going, okay, I really didn't like this. It took me out of my comfort zone. It made me, but maybe there's also things going, I'm glad it did. And it made me think about and look at something a little bit differently. I know we do that a lot in Strive, where now you look at announcers just a little bit differently because you're going, okay, I've been in that position. Or the camera person, I've been in that position. Or you're watching them switch angles going, hey, we do that on a very small scale, but we also do that. Is there something that, we'll start off on a positive note, a project that you created, whether it be Broadcasting 1 or 2, we'll let you guys kind of pick and choose, that you thought you were really excited about and you thought you did a really good job on, or that you really enjoyed in the making of? So I know this is kind of like a hands up question, but then I kind of want to know, what made it that way for you?
I'll start. My favorite was probably the podcast, our own personal podcast that we did, because you got to pick a topic that you wanted to talk about, and I like picking topics that I want to talk about because it makes me more intrigued to go deeper into research, and then I got to explain all that research to you.
And what was that? Remember that? Were you talking about your first one where it was just an audio podcast?
I liked both of them. I like the audio one a little bit more, though, because a little awkward with the camera in a room by myself.
Jack? Well, I think my favorite was probably the short. I just, enjoyed trying to find video clips and just learning more about my topic. Thought it was just pretty interesting overall.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's something short. Give some information, share some information. That's good.
Mine was probably our personal project, the 6th take we did. It was fun kind of setting up a studio-esque type feel, and then just discussing what we discuss every day, just more in a professional terms, I guess. And I don't know, just fun. Felt like a professional. We got all dressed up, and it was definitely an experience that I would like to do again if I got the opportunity. I wouldn't be against it if someone asked me,
That's good. I mean, that hopefully whatever, something comes up, you're going, I would maybe be more likely to say yes, I'd be involved, because I've done something maybe on a small scale or something similar, they're going, yeah, sure, I'd love to be on that. And you learn a little bit. What do we have conversations? We had some decent conversations about handling the sixth take.
How to handle someone who disagrees with you, how to handle someone who maybe says something that disrespects you per se. You can't just slam the table. Can't just hit the table.
Just slamming the table or just doing a big, throwing your arms up or something doesn't really... Not that we have a debate team around here, but it doesn't really prove your point. It just says you don't like their point.
It also maybe shows immaturity a bit too. You don't understand how to talk things out. You want to make the attention on you. And that's kind of what we learned from that is just because you disagree with someone doesn't mean you can just take the attention away from them because they're saying something that you don't agree with. You can't bring it all on yourself. It has to go both ways. It's conversation. And
it doesn't fix anything if you just slam the door and run away. There's got to be a little bit of give and take. I understand your perspective, but here, let me tell you why you're a moron and I don't like what you're saying. Those type of things. You can still go that route and maybe sound a little immature, but it comes from a lot of dialogue, a lot of working back and forth with people, respectfully understanding. Like you guys right now, and then maybe it's because I'm a teacher. You guys don't talk over me, right?
Yeah.
Don't say, hey, maybe a little bit. You might jump in. That's fine if it's important. If it's important, then all of a sudden you learn on the other side to go, let them talk.
Yeah, you have to know when it's your turn to be quiet.
And so there's a good, healthy learning of conversation. Is there something that was difficult as we went through these classes that was difficult, but you're going, okay, maybe it was difficult, but I made it through, or difficult, but I think I really learned something from this, or maybe nothing was difficult. I don't know. It's all about perception. I know many times when they start in that first one, people getting on a mic and looking at you going, why do I need headphones? What do we need headphones for? Well, to hear yourself so you know how you sound when you come through, because there's some people that like to talk with what we call mush mouth. He's kind of this person is probably from, what's the King of the Hill? Boomhauer that doesn't talk, that talks with like his whole his whole like his whole body, like everything about him like doesn't move, and he just talks like that. That's why we listen to ourselves, and that's why we want to hear other people's. But going back to what I was at, sometimes people don't like being on the mic, and that is a big hindrance to them starting to do some of these other little projects. Are there something that you're going, okay, what project was that? What was it that maybe I didn't like about it, but maybe I learned something from it, or maybe I sucked it up and just did it anyway, and I would never do that project ever again, but I did it. I know it's a widespread question.
I got something. I'd say there are two things. The first one is I don't like editing. I don't like going back and like listening to myself. I'm fine on a podcast because as I'm talking and I hear myself, but when I'm videoing myself, I don't know, there's something about it that makes me feel awkward, You don't sound like you think you sound. Then my other one was, I guess it's not broadcasting class, but last semester I took coding with you. And it was just, I don't know, I didn't like it, particularly because it was difficult and it was just a lot of problem solving in like an area I'm not very familiar with. So it maybe caused frustration that obviously I don't like because nobody likes to be frustrated.
No. Don't always want to be put in a situation where you're uncomfortable. I would never take a dance class, by the way, just throwing that out there, because that is not even for me, not even close. And I would feel horribly uncomfortable, even to the point of probably making myself feel sick because of that. So I understand what it's like to be in certain areas where it's not as good, not as comfortable to be.
Yeah, I'm going to go back off Luke there. My least favorite, honestly, is editing for basically the exact same reasons. Like when I was doing the personal video podcast, I was looking at myself. I was like, dang, I look weird, but it's a 10-minute video. I can't really restart right now, so I guess I'll just go with it. I don't know. I feel like editing and like listening back on my stuff, I'll be like, yeah, I messed that up. I said that wrong. I did that wrong. And then I'll just critique everything that I do. I don't like doing that.
Yeah, it's you want to say that you're going to sit back and go, gosh, I'm pretty cool. Look how awesome I look and look how great I sound. But then really it comes down to it and you're going, gosh, hope they don't put an tally on this whole thing. They hold an tally because I might be a little off the charts sometimes. And I get it. It happens. That's life. That's people. And we're not all professional speakers.
Yeah, I'll go next. I kind of agree with both points. I just don't really like having to learn how to stand in front of a camera and kind of just, I don't know, it's just a different way of like conveying a message instead of like, like reading. You have to like use body language and kind of just, be yourself in front of a camera. Sometimes by yourself, be kind of awkward, but
Yeah,
experience.
I wasn't a massive speech fan. And when we took it in high school and then had to stand in front of the 20 people that were in my class and give one, I would tell you if you could measure the amount of sweat that was probably running off my forehead because I knew I was going to have to go next or something like that. Like, hey, we're going alphabetical. Here comes Parson. Okay. Yeah. And I just.
So you became a teacher?
Prepared speeches like that where everybody's eyes are directly on you for something that you created. If it's something I know and I'm showing other people how to do it, I feel super confident about it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like if you're showing somebody how to do a skill or doing something, I feel really confident. If somebody had to stand up and say, hey, Mr. Parson, I need you to go over here and I want you to sing the C major scale starting right here. And I'm like, what? I would be nervous as all get out.
Yeah.
I sang at post-prom, okay? I did the Masked Singer at post-prom. Were you guys there?
Yeah, I did in fact see
You didn't miss anything.
You missed out. It was wonderful.
The nervousness inside that eagle costume was off the charts. I was so glad that I had to use a piece of paper to cover the eye hole, cover like the face hole.
So you couldn't.
So you guys couldn't. So one, you guys couldn't see me, but two, I didn't look out to see like facial expressions from people going, "Who's? Oh, that's Parson," because they knew it right away.
Yeah.
I couldn't hide it. I even tried to use some hard R sound every once in a while just to disguise, but it didn't work out very well. It was a bad Southern drawl. It wasn't good.
Got to drawl.
But that's a place where I would feel very uncomfortable, and I've even performed in places, so I understand that. But yes, I did go into teaching because math
is.
I knew it really well, and I can feel pretty confident about helping people and getting people to the right place before I got into computer classes. But we all get in those situations. If you just overall evaluation, you got to create some commercials. Have you looked at anything, commercials or even podcasts? Anybody podcast listener? Do we have any?
In a while.
I listen to Joe Rogan every day.
I'm amazed that he can do that as much as he does. The amount of hours that he has in.
There's some times where there's multiple podcasts that get posted a day.
Jeez.
And each one will be 2 to 3 hours, which is ridiculous. I went through a whole time on Spotify, just starring the ones that I thought would be good. And by the time I got done, I had 50 of them.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I want to listen to Mike Tyson. Oh, I want to listen to Roseanne Barr. Oh, I want to listen to, I don't know, somebody else that was a...
Theo Vaughn.
Theo Vaughn.
Okay, not to go on that tangent, but have you seen the Theo Vaughn? Somebody has taken a lot of his videos and turned them into babies.
Yeah, I've seen those on TikTok.
They are hilarious. Like use AI to turn.
Yeah, they do that
baby.
with like a bunch of different podcasters.
Then he's talking normally, but you see the mouth moving perfectly with the baby.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's amazing, talented skill, but I don't know. It's
not
crazy.
useful.
It's the opposite. It's the opposite of that gummy bear commercial, the Haribo gummy bears.
Oh, where it's the
offensive linemen that talk like babies. So it's like just the flip flop version.
It's babies talking like Theo Vaughn.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I lost my train of thought there, but looking at podcasts and looking at how other things are produced, whether you watch a video podcast or you're watching, because Rogan's video, because he also probably has in an audio format too, I'm assuming, right?
So the way Spotify does it is you can do an audio or video format. Like there's a little button
with each
switches.
episode. Yeah. Okay. I do some podcasts where I watch podcasts that are on Rumble or something like that, different YouTube channel. They do that there, or I do a lot of audio ones that are on my phone that just propagate every day or whatever day they come out. But when you look at like that type of thing, somebody produced a commercial, somebody's making a podcast. Do you think about it differently now than maybe you did before? Or is like, I understood what pretty much went into a podcast?
I mean, I'll start off. Before mentioning Joe Rogan again, I thought that would just be a fun job. You just get to talk to whoever you want. Now I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know if I could do that for, 3 to probably 6 hours a day. I was like, I would probably just get too nervous in front of a camera. I wouldn't be able to flow as well as he does with all of his guests.
Well, not even that, but how do you put out 2,000 2-hour episodes and still have stuff to talk about?
Oh, yeah, I think that'd be my issues. I would run out of things like super fast because, I can go back there and talk with my friends for 30, 45 minutes.
About some fishing?
About some fishing, hunting, stuff like that. But if you ask me to go do that every day, which he doesn't talk about the same topic, but like even remotely close, but still you'd run out of people to talk to.
But he's talking about things that are important to that person.
I know.
So there's been some research coming in, like he'll pull in a doctor and talk to him about something and has all this
Medical
detailed information.
stuff.
And if you watch his episodes, it's not common, it is uncommon for him to go back to the same points he's talked about in every podcast. Like he doesn't go back and then just revert back to, I got a whole spiel about amino acids over here.
Yeah, it's really like he gets his person, then he finally he does research on them and then asks them specific questions for what they do. Like with Neil deGrasse Tyson and stuff, like he'll ask astronomy questions and all that. And with like different comedians, he'll just talk about comedy shows.
Yeah, and he's got a lot that's probably right off the tongue talking about whenever they were at the what is the
Comedy Store.
Comedy Store that they talk about all the time. Yeah. I think I'd run out of stuff at some point in time. What do you, and I talked to I listened to some other podcasts and kind of the same thought process. I'm going, this guy must read a ton when he's not on, or even when he watches, because he might even have a research crew.
But he still has to go and read it.
He still has to know it.
He still has to know it. It's not like the research crew can go in there and know it for him.
But he's going to be the one talking about it, so he's got to sound like, yeah, I'm fully aware of everything that's going on here. So I would agree. Everybody wants to start a podcast. We got this podcaster, and I don't know how many people came in and said, hey, we should start a podcast. Like, well, that's more than just sitting down and talking all the time. Hey, hey, Owen, you want to start a podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you go in and they talk about like bubble gum and what they watched on TV last night. And I'm like, this is not going to be interesting for anybody. So I look at those things, and I would agree, look at those things a little bit differently. What about you guys?
Probably the preparation to go into it, because our big thing for most of the year was don't revert to sports, because we always had to have a topic that everybody could talk about. Whereas for me, whenever I'm sitting down and I've run out of things to talk about, I'll just ask someone, yo, did you watch the Thunder game last night? Did you see that Anthony Edwards got hurt and came back? It's just reverting to stuff like that. Whereas on a podcast, I kind of got to stay semi-true to the topic. But once you run out of things to talk about for that topic, where do you go from there? Do you, I don't know, it just tough to stay on track.
End the show, or do you?
Yeah, do you end the show, or do you keep going, find something related to that? Because I know me, it's always go back to sports, go back to sports, go back to sports, because everything in my life kind of revolves around that in some way or another.
And it's an interest of yours.
Yeah, it's something I really enjoy, and that's what most of my time goes towards, is finding out more about just things going on.
You mean like for the last couple of days in class where you've watched about the history of the ACC and SEC?
History of all the conferences. I've been watching game highlights. It's just a good way to pass time. I like it. And
it's informative.
It's not like I'm not learning anything. I'm still in school, so you got to learn something.
It just doesn't attach to a class that's here at school.
Yeah, or anything that'll probably help me in the future.
Well, you're a conference AD. You can worry about it.
Yeah. When I go to one of those big Power 5 schools.
Yeah, perfect.
I'd say a problem with like podcasting. I saw it with like this podcast and everything. I wasn't in this podcast at all. This is my first time, but I was always behind on the podcast or listening in, is staying on track. I noticed a lot, like, especially when we were talking about like the restaurants and like our favorite fast food chains, like Tim brought up Bronco Burger. and they talked about Bronco Burger for about 25 minutes in that podcast. So that was about half that podcast wasted for that.
I think at some point, dude, we brought up Broncos and it was supposed to tornado that night. We started talking about tornadoes.
Yeah.
It was something like that.
Yeah, staying on track was definitely difficult for this group during that podcast.
Yeah,
during just about any of them.
Or like our last podcast, we ended up talking about one man versus one girl versus 100 men, and that's not even remotely close to.
That's not where you started. No.
It's not even remotely close to where we started.
Yeah, that's when you get in a general conversation. Say, I'll just give an idea. Summer night after a baseball game or after something, you're just sitting somewhere with some friends hanging out. Yes, I'm old. I grew up cruising the downtown streets of Nebraska City, and then we would find a parking lot and just sit in cars or sit in the bed of a truck and just have a conversation. Mm-hmm. Didn't do anything wrong, and there were time frames on getting out of the parking lot, but we would sit there and have a conversation, and who knows where that conversation would just flip to constantly. If it were on a podcast, people would get bored and confused.
Yeah.
Because they would say, okay, how did you get from talking about summer work to wanting to go to space to, I don't know, what rules you don't like from your parents or something like that. There was probably a slight connection, or maybe there's that one person in the group that would just be like, okay, you're talking about hamburgers. I'm going to talk about golf and take over the conversation.
Oh, hey, no, because you eat hamburgers when you go golfing. So, whenever I play good golf is when I have a hamburger.
You can somehow...
where do you go golfing at? And then it's golf.
And you look back and you're like, hi, we connected this, but it doesn't make a good podcast.
No.
It makes a great conversation with a bunch of people that you're going, gosh, how long have we been sitting here? 4 hours? And it doesn't feel like it because we've just been talking about anything and everything. Mm-hmm. Those are honestly, if you get those situations in life, cherish them. They don't happen as much as you get older. Everybody gets busy and they don't have 3 hours to just sit down or, sit down and have a conversation. You got to super plan everything out. So it's the planning and the being on track and doing all this and doing all that is very important with our podcasts. Is there any other thing this year that we'll just say generally overall before we close up shop that you enjoy about this year? Something you enjoyed about this year. Could be my class, could be in another class. Let's just make it school related.
Okay. I guess I'll...
If anybody's got one, I'll let you think a little bit. You want me to just ramble for a little while longer? Because I do that, obviously, if you can't tell.
I can go. I think just sports overall. I just like playing them, and it was fun. It's the reason I come to school. If I didn't play sports, I wouldn't come here. I'd drop out. I really wouldn't care.
Gotcha. Is there any specific sporting event or sporting situation that comes to mind when you think of this year?
Probably the walk-off hit against West Point or the Bergen football game.
Gosh, I got to announce both of those.
Yeah.
Sweet.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the Bergen football game was fun to watch.
Yeah.
A little intense towards the end as they're driving, but it worked out in our favor.
It ended up
worked out in our favor this year, so that's good.
I know.
I'd say sports probably for me too. I only did wrestling, but wrestling has changed my life. I started 2 years ago, and I say I changed for the better a lot. I like the team. The team, it's all one big family. That was my favorite part about the team about wrestling was I could talk to anybody on that team and it'd be like I'm talking to my brother or my sister, and I like that a lot.
That's a good feeling. Another one to hold on to because it doesn't happen as often anymore. Being part of a team is big for not only competitively being in competition, but also in this unifying bond. That's awesome.
Me, I thought this year was going to be hard. I remember starting off this year, and everyone was like, "Man, junior year is going to be your hardest year," and gave me kind of a bit of anxiety. I was like, I don't know what to expect this year. I was like, is this going to be advanced stuff? But ending it off, I think junior year was pretty easy. I think overall this school year is just kind of cruised by. Hasn't been anything insane, nothing too easy. It's just been a pretty normal year.
And a normal, not to say uneventful, but a normal, successful year
Yeah.
is really all we really look for, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't want the abnormal year that's going to say, hey, flood, we're not going to be able to drive to Fremont for 4 months.
Hey, school year technically isn't over yet. I mean, remember last year?
Something weird can happen.
Remember
You're
last
right.
year?
Well,
Yeah.
I haven't heard any news of tornadoes or anything or any other issues going on.
I
but
think it's supposed to be nice the next 2
I
days.
hope it's
let's just get a quick flood real quick. Cancel these finals.
Yeah, the flood really threw off the year. Now, and the sad part is for many people, flood and even COVID, sometimes that's the only thing you remember from those years.
Yeah.
You look back and you go, and I don't remember what class I was in, but I remember that little bell went off 3 minutes before the bell that made us sanitize the whole classroom.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that
I
then
remember that.
we could leave and walk into a clean classroom in the next class period. Yeah, I mean, it was great that we were able to be here, different than places across the country, but that sticks out in my mind rather than the experiences I got to have that year. You know,
I think we were in 7th grade that year.
Yeah.
I think just the newness of everything, it was just,
and the masks
It
all
was-
year, yeah.
everyone was like, oh, that's weird. But to us, that was kind of our normal because
You hadn't
that was the
traveled.
first, we hadn't experienced what it was
Even
like
our-
before that.
Our
So,
first time with passing periods and everything.
They're like,
Yeah.
you guys always clean?
well, I knew you didn't do that, but it was like, didn't know what it was like not cleaning. I didn't know what
Yeah.
it was like not wearing a mask. Didn't know what it was like having a different teacher who had different rules on your mask.
Because you didn't travel much, maybe through 2 teachers
Two.
and then some specials.
Yeah.
Specials here and there in the elementary. Yeah, so it's good to have a normal year where you can be successful and not have to have a ton of extra stuff that really detracts from what you're trying to do. It's like you go into a business or something like that and you're going, it was a pretty uneventful day. And to some people, they would go, that sounds boring. But if you're doing construction or you're laying concrete and it's
Yeah.
uneventful, you're going,
That was a good day.
it was a good day. Nobody fell in. We didn't have to redo anything. We didn't run out of stuff and sit there forever. You know, whatever, those type of things. So I can completely understand that this year, as I think for me, I would also throw on there lots of great things. The video board ended up being in the gym.
Oh, yeah.
Ended up
That
being
was-
for me, I would say a highlight, but also a worry at times because you wanted to do it well. And it was on display for everybody that was in there all the time. And so you wanted to make sure things were going well, but I think it was a highlight because we got to highlight some of the stuff you guys did, you know, and play those constantly or play videos or even just in the game type stuff. And especially when we had some success on the girls and the guys side, it was just fun to have a lot of things there. I liked the wrestling meet because I could tell what was going on really easily about who was going up to wrestle. That was so nice compared to having to be on like your phone or something and recognize. So I wouldn't say my year was uneventful because of that, but it was pretty busy and exciting at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, piggybacking off of Jack too. Everyone always told me junior was going to be so hard.
Yeah.
I know there were people who graduated last year, seniors who graduated this year. They all said it's going to be hard. You're going to have a lot of homework. You have to work hard, and I just didn't feel that. It kind of felt like it was easy, and I kind of cruised through the year, but it also felt good because it gave me more free time to talk to people that maybe I didn't talk to before, and maybe build connections that I didn't have before. Just to kids in my grade and kids below me and kids above me, just because I had that extra free time. I wasn't stressed about school.
Yeah. You weren't using every second to school, and that.
I mean, I probably wouldn't use every second to school anyways.
But if you needed to,
if I had
to, like if you're going, if I had to study to be successful, I had to be super, like it was going to take 3 hours to do something for.
I'd feel guilty. I'd feel more guilty because I probably still wouldn't study, but I'd feel guilty about it. This year I didn't feel guilty about not studying.
Because you were still able to be successful.
Because I was still able to be successful.
That's good. Does this springboard towards what next year looks like for any of you? I mean, I don't want to start senioritis at your junior year, but next year's schedules have already come out. And we talked about schedules, classes a little bit last week. What is something that you're excited for next year? And then we'll just conclude.
I'm doing that new Nebraska math readiness class, that online math class for trade schools.
Oh, awesome.
It's new, so I guess I'll just have to see next year what it's like But yeah, it should help me for like Metro and stuff.
Oh, good.
It's not really anything I'm too excited for senior year. I'm just hoping it's easy, nothing like too stressful. I don't know if I'm going to do school to work yet, but I know that's an option that a lot of seniors take. And if I do end up doing it, I just want to, see what that experience is like, see what getting to leave school really early would feel like instead of having to stay the full 8 hours. So,
I'm looking forward to. I'm taking online biology, which has labs that I do in like here, so it's kind of weird. I don't know how that'll work, but I guess I'll figure it out. Then also, back to sports. Looking forward to football, basketball, baseball, the whole thing. One more ride, and it's kind of scary to think about because I don't know if I'm going to be ready to be done yet at that time because it's just something. It's been like that thing that's been for me there every step of the way, my entire life, and just like that, you're done.
You say, I can't wait till my senior year. You say that when you're a freshman. You say that when you're an eighth grader. You can't wait till my senior year. Can't wait for my senior year. Now it's going to be here. And we just hope and pray that we make the most of it while we can because it's going to be a year. It's going to be the 9 months.
Yep.
It's not going to be any longer than that or any shorter than that. Well, barring any weird thing to happen next year. But it's going to be a wonderful.
Please don't.
Please don't. Let's have a smooth year. Okay. But I do appreciate you guys sharing today. I appreciate what you guys have done in class, and that doesn't take away from the fact of all the seniors that are gone. We appreciate what you guys have done in this class, whether it be creating a documentary, which I'm still in the process of watching some of those and getting those things put in. But we've had a lot of opportunities to do a lot of great things, and you guys have done very well this semester. So I appreciate your hard work. Do you want to close us off?
I can close this. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Arlington Angle, being there every step of the way. Our weekly podcast that, fought snow days, fought cold days, fought power outages, the whole thing. We're still able to pump out, I think, high-quality podcasts every week. So thank you for tuning in. This is one final time from the Arlington Angle. I'm here with Mr. Parson, Owen Meehan, Jack Carden, and as always, Luke Sharp. Thank you.